Hello, how to fill out Form 941 for 2025 quarter 3. You can, complete it by completing a PDF, or you can file it online. So, if you want to complete the Form 941, you will come to irs.gov and you'll just tap Form 941. You'll download the form and the instructions. So if you want to, find out more about how you can file it, e-file it, they have instructions as well on that, and they should have the providers that you can look through that to see which company you want to go with. So they have a list of those people that you can go with as well and file your form online. If you want to complete the PDF that I recommended, you download, you save that PDF, you save the instruction as well. And again, unless I went too fast, those are the PDF you'll find first. That is Form 941, that is the form, and that is the instruction. So you can download the form and save it and save the instruction as well. That way, when you are completing the form and you are having some issue on a specific section of the form, you can just go to the instruction, scroll through it to see where you can locate that section and read through it. And you can highlight things as you find some stuff that you wanted to come back to easily locate it. You can just highlight it as well. So how do you complete Form 941 if you pay wages and you are completing it for quarter 3, which is July, August, September, and it is due at the end of October? So when you have your form open, you enter your business identification number, and Form 941 is employer payroll tax return. Is called employer quarterly federal tax return. Is completed by employers on a quarterly basis. So if your business has been around since the beginning of the year, you are expected to file 4 of this form by the end of the year. And every single form that you are filing is for a specific quarter. Therefore, you will check the right quarter for it. And you want to file it by the end of that quarter, like when it is due. It's due by the end of the following month that follow the month that follow the end of that quarter. So that's why July, August, September is due by the end of October. So you'll put your business legal name. That is the name you use on your EIN application form when you file the return. When you file EIN application to get an EIN number, they'll ask for your business legal name. You want to put it, and that will be the name you have with you register your business with the state with as well. So make sure you have that on hand to use when you are filing your business tax return, so that you can put it properly. If you have that, you put those dots in it the way you want it. So if you have a DBA name or a children name, you will enter that under your children name as well. So, and you'll put your a business address as well. They have instructions if you are a sole proprietor, hiring people working for you that you want to file this form for, what your legal name is and all those. They have instructions. They have information on it in the instructions for you to read through it to see, if that, what you need to put there, just if you are not sure. So let's go back to here. So which quarter are you filing for? We are filing for quarter 3, so we'll check that quarter. So Form 941 Part 1. So Part 1 is asking, page 1, Part 1, line 1 is asking how many people you pay within quarter 3, within the quarter you are filing for. So in this example, we are going to assume we pay 2 people. So how much do you pay them during the quarter you are filing for? So we are going to go to our template here and see compensation paid for quarter 3 is 12,000. So that 12,000, you enter that and you enter the decimal. If the decimal is 00, you enter it. So on that note, let's check it. So there are some lines that if your answer is 0, you are required to put 0. Everything else can remain blank. So those are line 1, how many people you pay during that quarter that you are filing for. Line 2, how much you pay them. And line 12, how much is your tax liability. And they recommend you do not round. And for the cents area, you put 00. So therefore, we have those 00 there. So line 3 is how much tax withheld, income tax withheld, you withheld from those wages you paid. We'll go back and we have our federal income tax withheld, that is 762. So we will go back and 762 and 00 is entered. Line 4, if no wages is paid, you that is subject to Social Security, you'll check that box and then you'll go to line 6. But in this case, we have income subject to Social Security tax and Medicare tax. Therefore, we have line 5 and line 5D colon 1, we have that 12,000. Pay on line 2, that is subject to Social Security withholding and Medicare tax withholding as well. So we have the income that the tax rate will be applied to. You'll have that in column 1, and times the rates will give you how much IRS expects the total Social Security tax employee portion and employer portion to be. So this half this rate will be withheld from the employee's income, half will come from the employer. The total is 0.12.4 and is 1488. It's good to use the calculator to do your calculation, and you can compare it to your numbers as well. So 1488, and we can see Social Security employee and Social Security employer will be 1488. So that 1488 is there. So Medicare tax will be applied to that 12,000 from line 2, and that will be 0.029. Again, half is employee portion that you should withhold from the employee wages. The other half is the business paying for it. So, and the total of both is 341 based on 12,000 times 0.029. Again, we can go to our spreadsheet to see 174 should have been withheld from the employee salary, and 174 should have been paid by the employer, and both is 348. And 348, this form does not ask who pay what. It's just asking you the total that IRS expects you to deposit, because you are the one making the deposit to IRS for both on the employee's behalf and on your business behalf. So your business is making the deposit for both employee portion and employer portion. So therefore this form is asking you to combine both together. So you have 348 there. So line 5E, I'm going to skip this though. This is an additional Medicare withholding when you pay wages past a specific threshold. Again, it's in the instruction. You will withhold an additional 0.009 from the employee salary. You, the business, is not going to match it. Everything additional Medicare will come from the employee salary. When it comes to the Social Security, there is a threshold as well. When you pay an employee up to that threshold, you do not withhold Social Security tax from anything you are paying after that to that specific employee. You will be withholding extra Medicare tax, but you are not going to be withholding Social Security tax from the excess income past the Social Security wages subject to Social Security tax threshold. And your business is not going to be paying any Social Security tax past that threshold either. But when it comes to the Medicare tax, you will be withholding excess from the employee income, but your business is not going to be contributing. It's all the employee. And again, those two thresholds are in the instructions, and it's good to check that for every year because they could be different. And see if you'll be able to find one of them. So Social Security is capped at $176,100 for one employee. So, and I believe Medicare tax, you will start charging more to that employee if you pay and you reach 200,000. Anything that you are paying after that, in addition to what you need to withhold for Medicare tax, you will be withholding an excess as well that we talk about. So those two taxes, Medicare tax, you will continue to withhold that from the employee income. But let's continue. It's not applying to our 12,000 that we pay two people combined. So line 5E, total Social Security and Medicare tax, is asking you to total line 5A and line 5C. And those two total to 1836, and we have 00 here. So we can go to our spreadsheet here and do I believe is those two is 1836, and we have it here. So you see, knowing the information will be asked you when you are completing your own return, you'll know how to track that information so that you can easily find a copy and paste or find it and type it. And again, you can double check numbers by using calculators as well. As you are completing the form and you are struggling finding those information, take notes, and later you can use that to put a system in place, a structure in place to be able to track your financial data in a way that next time you are going to file it again, you will be able to have those computation done so that you can compare your numbers for accuracy purposes. Because again, when you are filing your business tax return later, IRS could try to reconcile your W-2 that you file, that will be the W-3, which is a compilation of all the W-2s that you file, with your Form 941 as well, to see if some specific line can be reconciled, they match. So just make sure your numbers is accurate all the way through. And when you are filing quarter 4 for Form 941, when you complete it, you might wait and complete your W-2s as well, so you can compare your W-3, which is the sum of your W-2s, to your to your numbers, to make sure there is not a reconciliation that you need to make on your form 941 for quarter 4. So line F, well, if it's related to your business, you can read the instructions and complete it. We are going to leave a blank. So line 6 is the total tax before adjustment. It's going to ask you to combine line 3, tax you withheld, the income tax. This is income tax. This is a social retirement tax. So this is income tax, line 3. And this is Social Security and Medicare taxes. So it's asking you to combine both. And when you combine them, it's going to be on line 6. And we can double check that number is going to be our total Social Security and Medicare tax, and our income tax withheld is $25.98. So we are going to take that number and compare it to here, and that's what we have. So line 7 is asking you, is there any adjustment due to fraction that you want to make? Again, you can read instruction about it. Is again between how much you actually withheld and deposited, and versus what the calculation is, asking you here. I just like to avoid those rounding as much as possible, so that I don't have to be making any fraction adjustment here. But again, in real world, when you are making payments to people and withholding things, there could be those fraction adjustment. Just know that they gave you a specific area here that you can make those adjustments, so that your paper calculation, what they are telling you that your liability here should be, and what you withheld, they can match, so you can make that reconciliation here. So, and then they have line A for sick pay adjustment. So if you have those benefits, please read the instructions so that you can see how you need to complete those line A and 9. So we'll go to line 10. Total tax after adjustment is asking you to total line 6, your total taxes that we calculated prior, rows line 6 plus line 7, 8, 9, and put it on line 10. Because those lines are 0 for us, our line 10 is going to be the same as our line 6. So we'll put that 25.98 00 on line 10. So line 11 is talking about a refundable credit, and if you think you are qualified for that, you can check the instructions to understand it, to see when that credit applied to you, and you'll file that form, and that form needs to be attached to your form 941, and you'll put the credits on line 11. Otherwise, you leave it blank. Line 12 is asking you to about your tax liability. So it's taking line 10 minus line 11. So, and then you are going to put the amount on line 12. And since our line 11 is 0, so our line 12 is the same as our line 11. So our tax liability for quarter 3 is $2,598. So line 13 is total deposits for this quarter, including any refund for previous quarter that you say you ask IRS not to send you, but to keep for you to apply to the next quarter. You'll put it on line 13. So what line 13 is, when they're asking for deposits, is pretty much when you are paying wages and you are withholding federal income tax and Social Security and Medicare. IRS expects you to make those deposits on a frequently based on a schedule, whether you are a monthly deposit, a monthly scheduled depositor or a semi-weekly scheduled depositor, and those are a schedule you have to choose at the beginning of the year based on your previous 4 quarters. Look back. We can talk about it later at the end of this. And so there is a specific time of the year, of the month of the year, that you need to be making those deposits. And the deposit is just the tax you withheld from the employee's income each time you pay wages, the social security tax you withheld from the employee income and your business portion, the Medicare tax you withheld from the employee income and your business portion as well. You are supposed to make those deposits on a regular basis and track them, have a record of those deposits. Is what IRS is asking you here. What is the total of those deposits you made for this quarter? You will enter, and if there is any prior quarter refund you didn't take, you will add it as well. So line 14 is comparing line 12 to line 13. Your tax liability, what on this sheet is saying that our tax should be, what line 13 is saying that we deposited. You'll take line 12 minus line 13. If you have a positive residual, you owe that money to IRS. So that just means your line 12 is more than line 13. You'll put it on line 14. If your line 12 is less than your line 13, when you do that subtraction, line 12 minus line 13, you'll have a negative number, just meaning that your line 12 is less. Your tax liability is less than your tax deposited. The difference between the two, you'll put it on line 15. That means it's the amount IRS need to refund you. So you can check the box asking them to refund you that difference, or you can check this box and say they can keep it for you to apply it to quarter 4, line 13. That means you are going to be including it to any deposit you made for quarter 4. You'll be including that overpayment on line 13 later. Just like if you have quarter 2 overpayment that you check that box for, you'll include that quarter 2 overpayment that you didn't receive. You'll include it inside wherever you deposited for line 13 during quarter 3. You'll add it to that amount. If we have an overpayment from quarter 2, let's say $2 for instance, then it will be $25.98 plus $2, which will be what? $2,600. And I'm good with numbers, but I don't like mental calculus. So let's make sure we are right here. And that is what will be on line 13. But since we didn't have any overpayment to apply to line 13, from quarter 2 to apply to quarter 3, line 13, our line 13 is just assume here that what we owe, what our tax liability is what we deposited. Therefore, our line 14 is 0, we leave a blank. Our line 15 is 0, we leave a blank. But just know that you have those two boxes. If you have any number here, you check one of those two boxes here, what you want to do with that excess payment. So page 2 of form 941, you want to make sure you put your business legal name and you put your business identification number. Every form of form 941, which is 2 pages, you want to make sure you have your business legal name and your business identification number on each one of those pages. So for page 1, they have a specific spot for it. For page 2, they just have the top portion for you to put those. So make sure you do that, please. So part 2 is asking, okay, so if your line 12 is less than 2,500, check the first box. Again, our line 12 is $98, $1 more than what is here, because that means you want to have like 2,499 to check this box. So when your return is less than 2,500, so if your return is 2,500, if your line 12 is 2,500, you are going to check the next box, but not this one, because they say less than, not equal, less than. So since we are $99 more, therefore we are not going to check that box, we will check this. But if your total liability on line 12 is less than 2,500, you'll check the first box and then you'll go to part 3. But again, read it. So we exceed this, therefore we check the box 2. So when you exceed the first box and you are not going to check the first box, you have the box, those 2 boxes to choose from, and you will choose based on the schedule you chose to make payment following during the year. And we default to monthly schedule for this example, and therefore we check that one. When you check the monthly schedule deposit or box, IRS want you to prove the deposit that you made every month of that quarter. And if there is any refund, any credit that you took here, they want to take that into consideration. It's not the deposit you made that IRS is asking you here, but is asking about your tax liability for each quarter, for each month of the quarter, because again the tax liability is here and there is a credit here. They want you to take that credit into consideration. For line 12, broken down into 3 months, they want you to put down your tax liabilities, and they expect the total to match your line 12. So if we go back here, because we didn't claim any credits, we will come back here and we'll default from our quarter summary to our monthly summary here. And when we come back here, we have July, August, September. Total tax is $866. It's pretty much totaling our federal income tax with health, social security, employee and employer, and Medicare employee and employer as well, $866. And we have $866 for each month that we put, and the total is $25.98. $25.98. So if you are seeing my weekly depositor, then you will check the third box instead. Only one box will be checked, so you will check the third box instead. And let's see if we have a schedule. Let me go back. I believe it's schedule B. Schedule B. Let's click on it here for you to take a look at it. So pretty much it's just asking you your tax liability for every day of every month within that quarter. You'll put, if you are a semi-weekly depositor, you'll have this form, you'll complete it, you'll have your business identification number, your business legal name, the calendar year, which is 2025, and you'll check the quarter this form is for, which is going to be quarter 3 that we are filing form 941 for. So they have 3-month breakdown for you as well. Every single day is here. So days that you pay wages, you have tax liability for those days. So you will enter the equivalent, the corresponding a tax liability, federal income tax withheld, social security employee portion and employer portion, Medicare tax employee portion and employer portion. You will enter those for those days that you make a payment, you make payroll, you pay wages, and pretty much you'll complete those. So, and then you'll have your total for the month one there, the total for month two, and I believe each one is about 31 days breakdown here. And then you'll have the total for month 3 as well. So that will be like July, September, October, and the total of those 3 will be here, and that's what should match your line 12 here. And they don't have a breakdown for you to put those numbers here. That's why they will ask you to attach it to the form 941. So if you check that box, will you please complete the form, the schedule B form 941, and attach it. So part 3, if your business close or stop paying wages, you could check that box and put the last date you pay wages and attach a statement to it. Otherwise, leave those 2 sections blank. And there is instructions on part 3 that you could read about as well. And they have instruction on page 5 of the for these instructions that you can read about as well. If you close your business or sell it or transfer it, will you please read this section to see in which case you know your transfer match what they are describing here, and what they are asking you to have. Your attachment you are going to add to the form should include, and they have information there for you to read about as well, and how you might have to file W2, W3 early with Social Security Administration. So they have things there that's why it's good to have the instruction on hand so that you can read through and highlight what information you find related to your business situation that you want to follow the guidance. Otherwise, just leave those sections blank. And again, if you are a seasonal employer, there's some part of the year you employ people, some part of the year you don't. You can check that box if you think you qualified for that. And again, if that is your first time filing form 941, you might file form 941 because automatically when you file your EIN identification number with IRS and you estimate that you might have employee and your tax liability might be a certain dollar amount, they might, in their reply giving your EIN number, they might require certain tax return for you to file. If form 941 is one of those forms, you will file it on a quarterly basis, whether you pay wages or not. If when you are filing that EIN application, you chose that you are now going to have employees and you are now required to file form 941, from the moment you start paying, you recruit the people and start paying wages, and you will withhold federal income tax, withheld social security tax, Medicare tax automatically. You will start filing form 941 for that particular quarter, and going forward you will continue filing form 941 as well. So they have information about it that you can read. And as for a seasonal employee year, you have information here as well. So pretty much if you check that box that you are a seasonal employee year, that means you are telling IRS that instead of them expecting you to have 4 forms, Form 941 for the year 2024, there is a chance there will be some quarters you will not file for, and therefore they should not be expecting it and automatically assume you are late or you didn't file and charge you a penalty for it. And when you are filing the form for a specific quarter, you make sure you check the quarter you are filing for, and then you check this box to again remind them that you are a seasonal employer. Maybe the next quarter you may not file if you don't have employee and things like that. But if you are just, you have your business is you and L.L.C file as a task, filing task as an S corp, automatically you the owner, you are an employee of your business. So if you are not collecting income payment, payroll, salary from your business, you will file, and you are not hiring anyone else, you will file a zero tax return, and we have a video on that as well, how to file the zero tax return. You'll file a zero tax return, and there pretty much the way I show you first, only 3 lines that you'll put 00 on. Everything else will remain blank, and you'll make sure you have your business legal name and identification number where they're supposed to be. But we have a video to share with you the process for zero tax return. In that case, you'll file that zero tax return form every quarter, and you do not check this box. That is another option. So it's up to you to determine if you qualify as a seasonal employer, or if it's just better you file a zero tax return for those quarters that you do not pay yourself. And I can just use myself as an example here. I do not file Form 941 for our business, but I filed the annual version of it, and with our Liberman Consulting L.L.C, we are not really paying ourselves anything from it, but we just pay a little bit dollar amount that just allow me to file all the related returns related to it, so that I keep exercising how to file those associated those returns with with IRS or Social Security administrations, so that I know how to file those. That way, when our business start making a lot of money and we are paying ourselves a lot of money, I already know how to file those things. So we file the annual version, and for all the quarters that we didn't pay ourselves, if we were to file Form 941, it will be a zero tax return we will file, and for the quarter we pay ourselves, that quarter will have dollar amount on it. But again, since we file annual employer tax return, it's going to just be for the whole year. But for this one is for every single quarter. Okay, so line 18, we are going to leave a blank here, assuming we are not a seasonal employer. Line part 4, may we speak with a third party désigné? Here I like to just say no. If you are filing for your own business, you can just say no. If they want to discuss something related to the form, they must well just call you, the owner of the business. If you are a tax preparer and you are preparing this return for a client, then if the client want IRS to to discuss questions related to this particular return with you, the tax preparer, then you can check yes and put your name, your phone number, and the PIN that you'll want to, IRS will ask of you. Just trying to have a record of it and put the PIN down here. And if if you are having that permission from the business owner, the business owner need to understand that it's just related to this particular form that IRS will contact you with, and for questions if they have any. Otherwise, I'll just like to put no and move on. If there is someone in your business that is filing it for you, you are not paying them to file the return. They know how to file a return. You ask them to file the return. They are a staff member of your business. If you want them to answer a question on your behalf, they can put the information there. Otherwise, they can put no. Again, if IRS has a question, they'll go straight to the owner of the business. So, part 5, who should sign this? So, for the business owner, if you are an L.L.C, that's as an S corp, then the officers of the business. So pretty much who is going to sign, the name of that person should be here, the title of that person should be here, and the phone number of the person should be here. So when you print the document out, that person will sign and date. If you are a tax preparer preparing this for a client, you will put your name, you'll put your firm information, your P10. If you are self-employed, you'll check that box. Otherwise, you leave it blank. You'll have, your EIN information as well. And when you print the document and you ask the owner of the business to sign and date, you will sign and date as well. And then you will make 2 additional copies of those signed documents. The signed document, you or the business owner will mail it to IRS. The other 2 copies that you made, one will be for you, the tax preparer, to keep in your business record for this preparation. The second copy will be for the business owner to keep in their record as a proof of this form being filed. Okay, so, and that is how you will complete Form 941, Part 1 and Part 2. And again, if you are not paying anyone to file this form for you, you are filing it yourself, or somebody in your business is filing it for you and you are not paying them because they are filing this form, you pay them because they work in your business, leave the pay preparer use only section alone blank and just complete all the way to your title, your name, your title, and your phone number, and print those 2 pages out and sign and date and make a copy for your business record so that you can mail these to IRS. So you'll notice that on line 14, we didn't owe any money to IRS. So therefore, we do not need to complete the Part 3 version of this form, which is the voucher. If you have a residual on line 14, meaning you owe money, IRS, there is distance is whether you should add a check and the voucher to this form when you put the form in the envelope to mail, or if you should make a deposit of that residual you owe. If you are already making deposit to IRS and you have some numbers on line 13, I will just recommend you go ahead, log into your IRS account and make that deposit where you are making the deposit. But again, they have instructions here related to that voucher in instances that you can add a check to the form and mail it, or instances that is better you make a deposit, and they have some gray area. If it's just too confusing, I just prefer to avoid making mistake. If you know how to make a deposit, go ahead and make the deposit of the amount you owe instead of trying to pay with the form by adding the voucher and the check. If you want to complete the voucher and the check, well, you have the voucher, you'll put your business EIN, you'll put the amount on line 14 that you are going to pay, and you better pay in full to avoid interest and all those, but pretty much how much you are going to pay, your business, name, your address, business address, and which quarter this payment is for. It's going to be quarter 3. And then you'll print this page 3 out. You cut that voucher. You complete a check. I prefer you use a check though. That way you have a trace as well. When they pull the money out of your business account, you have a second proof that it got to them as well. But yeah, you have a check to complete, and they have instructions here on how you need to complete that check. And you'll take the voucher, the check, and the form 941 page 1 and 2. You can staple form 941 page 1 and page 2 together. You'll have the voucher, you'll have the check, and you'll have the form. So you'll have those 3 documents in the envelope if you are adding payment to form 941. If you have a residual on line 14 and you just want to log into your account and pay that difference that you owe them, then you are now completing that voucher. You are just mailing form 941 without a payment. So where do you mail form 941 without a payment? You'll go to the instructions to form 941 2025, and you'll go to page 7. You look without a payment colon, which is colon 2 out of the 3 columns here, colon 2. And in colon 1 you look for your states, and since we are in Iowa, we are on row 2. So the address without a payment that corresponds to row 2 is what we'll put on the envelope and put our attached form 941 page 1 and 2 in the envelope and mail it via USPS certified mailed, so that we can have a tracking number to staple to our copy in our record with the receipt, so that if IRS say something later that they didn't receive your form or they didn't receive it on time, you have that proof that you mail it. You have a tracking number. You can check online that it was deposited to them, that if they ask for proof, you can make copies of those receipts and certified slip to send it to them. So if your state is a state on row 1, then you will use the address on row 1 without a payment corresponding to it. If you completed a voucher and will add a check to it, because if you complete a voucher, you have a check to add to it, a check or a money order. So then you'll go with payment address, which is colon 3, that corresponds to the state your business is located in. So that is the addresses that you'll use to file, to mail your form 941 to. So when form 941 is due, it is due for quarter 3, it is due by October 31st. And it is good you mail it on time. IRS has that instructions that if the post stamp date is by the due date, they will assume they receive it on time if it gets to them late. There could be instances that they might not, do that. So if they reach out to you and saying that, by mail, of course, saying that they charge you a penalty, and that is a penalty you need to pay them for mailing it late, knowing that you mail it on time, you can call them and let them know that you mailed this on time and you mail it on this date. And if they ask for proof, you have those slip receipt from USPS that you staple to your form that you can make copy of and send it to them. And sometimes they might, if they have one-time forgiveness to want to give you, they might decide to give it to you. and not asking for a proof. But if you don't want to use that one-time forgiveness yet, and you prefer to prove it to them that you've mailed it on time, because someone there failed when they receive it late after the due date, they fail to look at the post stamp to state that, oh, they receive it on time. Somebody failed to do that and they throw that envelope away. Then it is you to prove it to them with the copy of the receipt and the slip, the receipts, the tracking number slip, to prove it to them that you mail it on time and you mail it on this date. So that's why it's good you have those records properly filed so that you can find them. So, and that is how you file Form 9041, and you file it on time by the due date. So I have few information here that we can go through. So additional payment for Medicare tax is paid by the employee. And again, I explain line 13 what kind of deposit will be included there. And when it comes to payroll tax deposit, we have monthly and semi-weekly deposit schedule to choose at the beginning of the year. And as of a monthly depositor, you are required to make your payment of those tax liability each time you pay wages, to make those deposits by the 15th of the following month. If you are a semi-weekly depositor, they have that instructions on when you should be making your payment is pretty much on a weekly basis, and following that schedule. And whether you are a semi-weekly depositor or a monthly depositor, if at the beginning of every year you'll need to know what your previous year or your previous 2 years tax liability was, and how you are going to look back. We have an example here, and you total those to see if it's less or more than 50,000, and that's how you will choose whether you are a semi-weekly depositor and should follow semi-weekly deposit schedule, or if you are a monthly depositor and should follow monthly deposit schedule. But again, is the tax liability on line 12 that you will be looking for when you pull those tax return out to look. And if you are wondering how you will calculate income tax to withhold from employees' wages, you can look at publication 15T, and I like to use section 2 for the example that we use on this spreadsheet. And I believe we have oh, and by the way, those slides, you can find those references in publication 15 circular E. It's a good employer's tax guide. It's good to download, save, and when you have time, read through it to see what you need to know. For publication 15T is about how much you should be withholding from your employees' wages for tax income, for federal. And they have different ways to calculate it, and I like to go with section 2, and you can use that to design a spreadsheet giving W4 to your employees or staff members, including yourself if you have an L.L.C tax as an S-corp and you're an employee of your business. You can complete W4, and based on that, you can use it to design a spreadsheet so that you can have a way to track how much you are paying. At least I use spreadsheet for those things. That's what I'm using. But if you are using a payroll tax form, a tax software, just Yeah, so see what additional information you need to add to it, but it just allows you to choose how often you are paying people, and I'm going to be using monthly. Therefore, you can just transfer these things to a spreadsheet. That way, instead of every time you pay people trying to calculate those things manually, a spreadsheet will do it for you. And then you have this table that you can just rely on to calculate how much you need to pay those people working for you. And I'm just going to go to monthly session. We have the bi-weekly. See my monthly, and I'm just going, and this is monthly. So with the example we are using, paying people $2,000 a month, one person on the W4 in the example we are using chose just to be taxed as a single and no additional tax to withhold on it, and another one choose to be taxed as a single with a boss check for extra to be withheld. So having both, one we are withholding less, the other we are withholding more, and both singles in this example. And that is how you can just use that publication 15T as a reference to withhold income tax, because the form 941 does not tell you the rate to use. It's just telling you the rate for Social Security and Medicare tax. But as for the federal income tax to withhold on the income, you can use that publication to determine how much you want to be withholding from your employee's income, and therefore it will be good to give them W4 at the beginning of the year for them to complete for you. And having those pay every month for the quarter, this is how we design the spreadsheet with that section 2 in mind. We just transfer. I told you that we chose monthly, so we have that there as well, and we just transfer those to our spreadsheet. I'm going a little bit fast, but it just allows us to locate those tax liability and put it there. And by the way, when I'm looking at this, it is 157 here, but I'm withholding 177 for the other person, and I'm just going to keep it like that, assuming that the person check to withhold some specific extra or something like that got added to it. Otherwise, I could change how much I'm withholding from it, but I'm not going to in this example. But yeah, and by having a session like that, by having a spreadsheet design like that to compute things for you, that you add things to it, you will be able to pull summaries out that you can use to file your W2s later and file unemployment tax returns later, and file your form 941 as well. And this is just an example of how a payroll spreadsheet could be designed to help you track your information depending on what you need. This, for instance, is not designed to track a summary at the detail if you are a semi-weekly depositor. So that will just be the first one that you can add a tab to it to track things on a daily basis. Although we have this one here that is where you are doing your daily entry too. if you are doing the daily entry here for every single person, then you can add another sheet to the document to total those to have a daily report. For instance, I'm not sure I saw the Medicare one, but yeah, to have, this is a monthly report, but you can have a report to download a daily report as well, to have your 360 days all the way there, and download everything on a daily basis as well. And then you can have your query return information, and this spreadsheet is available on our website ninasub.com for free. Like, you don't need to enter your email address to access it. You should be able to download it for free. We have few versions there. You can see which one is best suited for your business model that you can update, and just make sure formulas are not broken in it, because again, you are responsible of your numbers. We are not responsible for it if something is not computing well for you. So just make sure things are computing from where you are making your daily entry. They are computing to your monthly and quarterly and the other tabs properly, so that way, you know, you will make entries on those, and I think the rest should be able to be pulling from there as well. But feel free to, if you know your way around spreadsheet, to update it once you download it. But again, just make sure, you know, the downloaded document has accurate formula, since are not broken in it, and it will work. It will work if you are a monthly depositor, but if you are semi-weekly depositor, there is now that report that pull your daily task information. So it might have to be added to it, or you can design it from scratch, or you can download it to use it as an example, so that you can design your own spreadsheet from scratch as well, based on what you need and based on how you pay people in your business as well. And you have publication 15T to rely on to see sessions that which options you want to use to withhold tasks as well, and design your spreadsheet with that in mind. As for Form 941, it's good to download the instruction so that you have it on hand when you are filing the return, so that you know, file the return, and when you have a question, you just come to the spot you have a question about and read through it. If you are wondering who should sign the document, those are the people based on the type of business you have. If you have an LLC tax as an S corp, the president, the vice president, and officers of the business can sign. If you have an LLC that file 1065 form tax return, then members that have a knowledge of your business can sign as well. And if you are a single member LLC that, you know, is treated as a disregarded entity and file Schedule C instead for your LLC, single member LLC, then you, the business owner, you know, or a principal officer, could sign, and they have all those information as well. If you want to read through it, yes, you have that there. And I think that is pretty much it, how you'll file your Form 941. And again, just in case I do not complete this for quarter 4, just know that in quarter 4, to complete this, you are going to check quarter 4 instead. Only one quarter per form needs to be checked. So, as a disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer. Therefore, use our tax information at your own discretion. I have business degrees, and I have businesses that I manage, and I file tax returns for our business. I have prior tax preparation, work experience, and when I left there, I started Liberman Consulting L.L.C. a few years later with the idea of filing tax return for people and businesses. But over the years, I decided that instead of filing it for people, I prefer to just tell them how they can file it themselves. So that's why I make those videos. And our businesses are my clients that I file for, and that is how I keep learning about taxes. Instead of that just being a past work experience, is still a current working experience for me, in the sense that there are some tax returns form that I have to file for my businesses, and therefore I like to make those videos for forms, whether I'm filing that form, which is form 941, that I do not file, whether I file that form or I don't file that form, but I can share with you how you can file it. If you are supposed to file that form, I can share those information with you. And for instance, I filed Form 944 for our business, which is the annual version of Form 941. I filed Form 941 in the past before IRS decided that because we do not pay our tax liability is less than $1,000 a year, to file Form 944. So I filed Form 944, but I can tell you how you can file Form 941 if you are required to file Form 941. So for more tax form related video or tips, will you please check the playlist on our channel about it, to see if there is any form you are required to file that we share our knowledge on, that you wanted to learn more about. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much for watching our videos, and thank you for your comments. Thank you very much for subscribing to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C. YouTube channel, and ninasoap.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And filing your own business tax return is one way to save money in your business by keeping your business expenses low at the beginning, and later when you are too busy and your business is generating a lot of revenue and you want to delegate this task to somebody else or a professional to file your return for you, because you file it yourself, you know what to expect. In addition to that, you know how to track your financial data in a way that you can file the return with. That way you know what to give the professional for them to file it accurately for you, because again, you are going to sign the document. If you are not filing it yourself, you are going to spend time reading what is filed on your behalf and then signing that is filed accurately to the best of your knowledge. Therefore, is knowing how to filing it yourself allows you to know what to expect, and knowing what to give to the professional for them to file it for you, to help them file it accurately, and just to lower the chances of your return not be filed properly, because again, you are responsible of those returns, whether somebody file it on your behalf or not. And again, try to file it on time as well. Thank you so much for your time.